Arsenal have been told a price they must pay for Benjamin Šeško coming out from the Telegraph. RB Leipzig are commanding a fee of around £92 million. Chelsea are stepping up their pursuit with regards to Liam Delap. Fabrizio Romano has come out with an update on Rayan Cherki to Manchester City, and Tottenham have been offered the chance to sign Leroy Sane. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button and let me know your thoughts on every single transfer story we discussed. The road to 60k is well and truly on. If you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button. 90% of you who watch the content on this channel are not subscribed, and we're just over 600 subscribers away from 55,000 subscribers. We're going to start off with the report coming out from Fabrizio Romano with regards to Rayan Cherki, who is wanted by City. He is top of the list for their new number 10. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. We'll only have about a month or so left at Manchester City before he says his goodbyes, and then he may even become a Napoli player. Fabrizio Romano has said Manchester City made contact to start initial talks for Rayan Cherki as target for the number 10 position. He's top of the list with Morgan Gibbs-White after the Wirtz deal is off. And we know that Wirtz now is very close to being agreed with Liverpool and Bayer Leverkusen. There's an agreement in personal terms. So listen, that's going to be one hell of a signing. I honestly, personally believe Rayan Cherki is a better player than Morgan Gibbs-White. For one, he's younger. Two, he has more European experience. And three, his numbers, his ability across the board is far superior to a Morgan Gibbs-White. Morgan Gibbs-White this season has had a good campaign, but Nottingham Forest need him if they want to go far in the Conference League. Rayan Cherki has got 32 GA in 44 games in a Lyon shirt, which is absolutely extraordinary, including 12 GA in 12 in the Europa League. Now, Morgan Gibbs-White's numbers are good, but he's also English tax. He's going to be a lot more expensive. He's got 17 GA in 38, has not a huge amount of European experience, whereas Rayan Cherki has been doing it now for a couple of seasons at Lyon and will be getting called up to that French national team and to make his impact very, very soon. I believe he's had two appearances for the under-23s, but now he probably will become a mainstay in that France team. You imagine him in a midfield potentially with Reinders and Rodri. Now, we know Reinders is very, very close to joining Manchester City as it stands. It's going to be a very, very busy window for City. Their first game at the Club World Cup is only a few weeks away, where they will play against, I think it's, is it Wydad FC or is it Ain or is it Juventus? The first game is against Wydad AC on the 18th of June, which is only 21 days away. 3 weeks today, they will be playing their first game in the Club World Cup. So it's not long at all for them. They need to get their business done, and they need to get it done very, very soon. Now, Arsenal have been told a price they must pay if they want to sign Benjamin Šeško, which is £92.5 million. There's a lot of people in Germany coming out and saying that this, at this moment in time, is more realistic than a Viktor Gyokeres. Mikel Arteta is massively behind bringing in Benjamin Šeško. Cast your mind back to May of last year. That was the first name when it comes to this striker transfer saga that was on the list, and it was Benjamin Šeško. Now, Arsenal have been told by RB Leipzig they must pay £92.5 million to sign the 21-year-old. Now, people in Germany believe Benjamin Šeško has a higher potential than a Viktor Gyokeres. Now, whoever Arsenal sign out of these two, because it's changing on a daily basis when we're reading all the reports from the journalists, If they go out there and sign a Viktor Gyokeres, that tells me that Arsenal want to win ASAP. If they go out and sign an RB Leipzig player, Benjamin Šeško, for instance, that tells me that winning the Premier League next season, from the hierarchy's perspective, not Arteta or the players, from the hierarchy's perspective, that tells me, just my opinion personally, that winning the league title next season isn't the be-all and end of things. We know how much Arteta and the players want it, but if the ownership are giving a player that's not massively experienced when it comes to winning league titles, a player that's not massively experienced throughout his career, he's only 21 years of age, right? That's what people massively seem to forget. He's 21. He's younger than a lot of the strikers in the Premier League this season. You think of the top six, for instance, right? Solanke's 26, 27, right? Jackson's 23, 24. Haaland's 23, 24, right? Højlund and Xerxes are 22, 23. Isak's 24, 25. Watkins is 27, 28, maybe even 30. He's a very, very young number 9. There's no doubt he's got bundles and bundles and bundles of talent, you know, but a lot of reports, Mike McGarth, who's a very, very credible journalist who Fabrizio Romano often quotes a lot of his stuff, £92.5 million is a lot of money, a hell of a lot of money. That is a lot of that Arsenal budget going into next season. Just trying to get that into euros. 92.5 million in euros is 110.3 million euros on the current exchange rate. Now, that is a huge amount of money. Now, according to Florian Plettenberg, personal terms, I think it was Florian Plettenberg that said it, personal terms are not an issue, and he has been kept out of the RB Leipzig squad going into pre-season because that's how much the talks are going on. Every single minute of every single day, Arsenal fans are hearing about Cesco, hearing about Viktor Gyokeres. It does not matter. One of those has to join Arsenal. I still stand firmly on the point of, I personally think it has to be Viktor Gyokeres if they want to win the league title next season. There's also a lot of credible sources coming out from inside Arsenal to say that Kai Havertz will still play a big, big part of Arsenal's season next year as a number 9. Now, coming out on, this was a week ago, that Andrea Berta was in contact. This was about 6-7 days ago, this tweet. Andrea Berta and Michel Schäfer, the current director of football for Leipzig, Arsenal are monitoring other strikers such as Viktor Gyokeres, and it says there his release clause is 80 million euros. Now, how the Telegraph have got a bid going in for 90 million or an 80 million euro release clause, I'm not entirely sure what part of this deal we're at right now. You know, it's the what I'm currently getting from reading a lot of these sports. This was 4 days ago, coming out from Florian Plettenberg. Regarding Cesco, there has been recent direct contact between Berta and Michel Schäfer to understand the structure of a potential deal, including the release clause and other details. Both deals would be extremely expensive. RB Leipzig have to sell Cesco in order to generate income. So we know for a fact that RB Leipzig have to sell him to move on collectively as a football club in terms of buying players. Now, as it stands right now, reading a lot of these reports, it sounds like Cesco is more realistic, but I don't know. Now, coming out from a German reporter, Arsenal have apparently settled on Benjamin Šeško as their transfer target for the striker option. Now, I don't know how entirely accurate that report is, but it looks like from what we're reading right now, coming out from Bild as well, which he is the most credible German news outlet, saying, breaking, Benjamin Šeško will be left out of RB Leipzig's pre-season tour as Arsenal position themselves for the signing. RB Leipzig will start talks at 59 million, hoping to get 84 million. 84 million is about 95 to 100 million euros. So it looks like right now that it is going to be Benjamin Šeško. That is what all of the reports coming out of Germany are. There hasn't been too much today with regards to Viktor Gyokeres. It's been all about Benjamin Šeško. Now, late last night, coming out from Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook, that Chelsea are closing in on a move for Liam Delap after positive talks. Manchester United's lack of European football has weakened their position. Newcastle and Everton have also held talks, but Delap is now leaning towards Chelsea. Now, of course, Chelsea had a really, really good night last night. They won the Conference League. They're the first team to complete the set. I think, personally, Chelsea have to bring in Delap and another striker if they want to really compete next season. Delap, for me, doesn't have a huge amount of experience. In European football. If they bring in a Hugo Ekitike, if they bring in another player, if they bring in, a couple of more decent forwards, Mudryk possibly going, Sancho possibly going, Mudryk can't play. They do need to bring in probably two forwards. Is Jackson, clinical enough to lead that number 9 to go in Premier League titles? I am not so sure. I personally don't think he is. And I do think Chelsea need a few more players in there that have got, a huge amount of quality. There's a lot of inconsistent players in there. The only one that's really, really, really consistent in that team at the moment, in terms from an attacking perspective, is, of course, Cole Palmer. Now, one name that keeps getting mentioned quite a lot, and it's been mentioned with regards to Bayern Munich, now is being mentioned at Tottenham. Now, Leroy Sane, right, has been offered to Tottenham. This came out a couple of days ago from Sky Sports Premier League, right, saying Tottenham have been offered the opportunity to sign Bayern Munich winger Leroy Sane. The former Manchester City forward becomes a free agent when signing a contract expires at the end of June, that is. Now, Leroy Sane, for me, when he was at Manchester City, was a very, very, very good quality winger. However, the Leroy Sane of today is nowhere near that level. He's just turned 29. His wages are astronomically high. You're looking at around 300,000 euros a week. 288,000 euros a week. I don't think Tottenham would break their wage structure for Leroy Sane. I also don't think he's consistent enough. His numbers are good. However, you are playing in the Bundesliga for the best team, surrounded by the best talent. 11 goals and 5 assists in 30 games. Only 1 goal in 13 in the Champions League. 12 goals in 43 games in all comps is not the best. Then when you look at Leroy Sane's numbers, Leroy Sane's numbers over the last 5 years since being at Bayern Munich, he's only registered 10 goals plus in the Bundesliga once. He averages about 15 GA a season, which, is roughly the same as Brennan Johnson for the wages, for the signing on fee, for how much it's going to cost. I would rather go and get a Brian Mbeumo or someone like that, or an Eze. That's just me personally. But Ange might have different plans. Leroy Sane, when he was at Manchester City, was an absolute machine. An absolute machine. Look at the difference of quality of Leroy Sane. He's only got 10 goals plus once in the league, or 10 or above. In the Premier League, 10 and 10, 20 GA in 31, 25 GA in 32. That's what? Nearly 50 GA in 2 seasons at Manchester City between 2017 and 2018. We know his talent. We know his ability. That 4 out of 4 goals and 8 in the Champions League as well. But for me, stay clear. Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like. hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all soon. I am out.